First for the football Giants, their victory over Pittsburgh means the Giants' playoff game next week will be in the Meadowlands, the first time that's happened. It'll be the first time in 23 years the Giants have hosted a playoff game. Joe Morris became the first Giant to score 21 touchdowns in a season. The list of firsts goes on. First, let's talk about the win. The Giants took the opening kickoff and marched into the teeth of the wind. Joe Morris capped off the drive with a run up the middle. The Giants never trailed after that, 7-0. Morris had quite an afternoon for the Giants. He gained 202 yards on the ground, 65 of those coming on this carry. If you take a look at his right foot, you'll see Joe ran right out of his shoes, but it didn't matter. He still found the end zone. Giants fans had a great afternoon cheering on their team. Lawrence Taylor congratulating Joe Morris. Morris had 3 touchdowns in the game. That won his final tally with a plunge into the line. Check the get up here. Any way you like it, she looked warm. The Giants defense also played well. They held Pittsburgh in check. The Giants offense held the ball almost twice as long as Pittsburgh. Joe Morris's last carry dashes off the field and gets a big hug from the coach, Bill Parcells. Joe Morris this year has rushed for 1,336 yards. That's a Giants record. Giants win 28-10. The Giants will play either Washington or San Francisco next weekend. If the 49ers beat Dallas tomorrow, San Francisco will come east. The Redskins kept their playoff hopes alive. They beat the Cardinals 27-16. Right after the game, Cardinals coach Jim Hanifin and his entire staff were fired.
3 touchdowns on the ground for Morris on the day. Let's go to the scoreboard. Here's the way it looked. The Giants beating Pittsburgh 28-10, Washington over St. Louis 27-16, and Jim Hanifin and his staff lose.
It worked fast enough.
Performance at the Meadowlands. They took command of the Steelers early on, winning 28-10, and that means next Sunday the Giants play host to either Washington or San Francisco. For their fans, the wild card playoff berth has been a long time coming, but they never doubted today that it was possible. Jim Van Sickle reports.
Joe Morris really had a super day.
He scored 3 touchdowns. He ran for 202 yards.
You really know that stuff. You must be a Giants fan.
Of course.
Is there a Giants fan in the house?
And I'd like to get the 49ers to pay him back for the last 2 times when they beat us.
Giants fans, you should have seen this gang at the stadium today. An emotional high right from the start, and you could see it in the crowd. The Giants' last chance to get into the playoffs. And they love this one, the hero of the game, little Joe Morris.
Touchdown!
Joe Morris.
Yeah. Joe Morris.
28-3 at the half.
Let's go defense. Let's go Giants.
A Giant fumble. All the ups and downs, though well before the end, the Giant victory was so sure, a lot of the fans did start to head for the exits. But not this guy.
We've been waiting since '63, and we're going to the playoffs. It's about time, but now we got a team, and we're going all the way. I've been a Giant fan for 35 years.
Yeah.
That's one of the best nights I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. And as at Manny's, they're celebrating tonight.
4 more times.
4 more times.
Super Bowl, 4 more times.
Forget about it. From here on in, it's clear sailing. We're going to do it all the way.
A Super Bowl.
This is our year, baby. This is our year.
A hand-knit Giant sweater?
Absolutely. What does it look like, a Giant sweater? We're going all the way this year.
Who knit that?
Huh? My grandmother. Is there another team?
It's been a long, hard 20 years, but you put last year together with this year, and maybe you got something. Jim Van Sickle, News 4, New Jersey.
A little later in sports, we'll hear from some of the Giants about winning a wild card spot.
Visions of playoff glory are dancing in the heads of the Giants tonight. They roughed up the Steelers 28-10 to qualify as a wild card team at 10-6. The Giants' best record in 22 years. Joe Morris Day today. He ran for 3 touchdowns, including a 65-yarder, while losing his right shoe. One Shoe Joe leads the NFL with 21 touchdowns. He finished with 202 yards, became the Giants' all-time rusher at 1,336 yards.
It's not something you plan to do, you know, to run for 21 touchdowns. I didn't know we had that until, you know, the offensive linemen said, hey, we're going to get you 20 this year. I didn't think nothing of it. And the rushing record, you know, wasn't on my mind. What I was thinking about was trying to get to the playoffs. And, you know, that's what Coach Parcells always he preached about to me. He said, look, Joe, you're having a decent season. But, you know, your personal goals don't come before this team. You got to understand that. And I accept that.
Phil Simms connected with Bobby Johnson from the 23. After the bitter outcome in Dallas last Sunday, Phil is looking forward to the playoffs.
I'm glad we got it done with today. We had we had a chance to finish it off, and we did. And, so, you know, I can relax now tonight and tomorrow and just sit back and be like everybody else, second-guess the team that's playing.
Say that with a smile, Phil. Pittsburgh's loss to the Giants assured the Browns of first place in the AFC Central Division. Now, tomorrow, the Jets must defeat Cleveland to qualify for the playoffs as a wild card team. Back to the NFC, Washington.
The rest, wasn't on my mind. What I was thinking about was trying to get to the playoffs. And, that's what Coach Parcells always he preached that to me. He said, look, Joe, you're having a decent season. But, your personal goals don't come before this team. You got to understand that. And I accept that.
Joe's most electrifying moment, this 65-yard dash for a touchdown in the second period. Turns his own teammates into fans.
Joe is great. If everybody played like Joe, we'd be undefeated. He's a great leader, by example. He's a super guy.
So little Joe and the Gents finally win the big game, accomplish exactly what they had to do.
It was a very big game for us because either we won today or we went home and until next July and sobbed in our miseries saying that we didn't get it done this year.
Giants head home tonight, relieved, excited, and looking forward to next weekend. They'll spend Christmas week right here in New York as the season continues. Corey McFerrin, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
So the Giants are in the playoffs and will have home field advantage in next weekend's wild card game against either the Redskins or the 49ers. Now, if the Niners win their game tomorrow against Dallas, they'll play the Giants. If the Niners lose tomorrow, the Redskins will play the Giants, as the Skins won their game today in St. Louis 27-16. By the way, St. Louis coach Jim Hannafin was fired after that game.
The Giants sewed things up much to the delight of their long-suffering fans, as Roseanne Coletti reports.
In spite of the cold, in spite of the wind at Giant Stadium today, Giant fans were hot with fever, playoff fever.
20 years and plus I've been a Giant fan. I wouldn't miss this for the world. This is great. We're on the way.
We've been coming to Giant games for 26 years, since I was 2 years old. We saw the last championship game back in the early 60s, so we want another championship game this year.
As the Giants rolled up the points against the Steelers, it looked like the team would give fans their best Christmas present in years. After all, look who was at the game.
San Francisco, we want you. We want you.
This is an important game, all right, and if there's one thing Giants fans are full of today, it's plenty of advice for the home team.
You got to win every single game to make it. Win every game to make it to the Super Bowl. You got to win.
Give it to Mars every time, you bet.
Well, this is for all the marbles.
It's still a long 100 yards until the Super Bowl, but today Giant fans were already eyeing a dome stadium in New Orleans, an arrival from Chicago.
We want the Bears, and we want them bad in Chicago. They don't have a prayer in the world.
Oh, these Giants are number one. All the way, Giants.
Super Bowl.
And they're better than the Miami Dolphins, so
With today's victory tucked under their belt, Giants fans had only one more thing to worry about, and that's how they would get their cars out of the lot and go home. I'm Roseanne Coletti, Channel 2 News at Giant Stadium.
Way, the Giants beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Meadowlands this afternoon to finish the regular season at 10-6 and capture an NFC wild card. They'll host either San Francisco or Washington next Sunday. Joe Morris with his fourth three-touchdown game of the season. All came in the first half. His 9-yard run making it 7-0 Giants after one. Then this 65-yard run made it 14-3 early in the second. Little Joe breaking tackles, losing a shoe on the way. Morris gaining 202 yards on the day to finish with a team record 1,336 for the season. Joe's third touchdown came late in the second, the NFL scoring leader with 21 TDs for the season, also a team record. 28-3 at the half, the defense made it hold up. Lawrence Taylor and Casey Merrill making soup of Scott Campbell, pardon the pun. But this day belonged to Morris, the Pro Bowler, getting a lift from Bill Parcells after carrying his coach all season long. And in the end, it was time to celebrate in traditional Giant fashion. But while Lawrence Taylor cooled off Parcells, he had a warm word for little Joe.
I'm glad this game was a national televised game. A lot of people all around the league are thinking, how the hell did Joe Morris make Pro Bowl? After the day, they know why Joe Morris made the Pro Bowl.
As for what I did today, I did what I'm capable able to do with my offensive line blocks the way we did today. And it started this week. I talked to a couple of guys, the writers that were here, and I told them that we had to go out and be physical with these guys. And if we were able to run the ball against them, we were going to be okay.
The Giants' win over the Steelers also had an effect on the Jets. By the Steelers losing, the Cleveland Browns enter the playoffs as champs of the AFC Central. And you could surmise that will give the Browns less incentive tomorrow when they face the Jets out at the Meadowlands.